Hello friends, I am Shantanu, your coach, and now we are going to see some additional lectures on depositories where we are going to see how question can be asked in exam from this chapter and how you have to write the answers for such questions. Now first let's see the concept of depositories once again. It says that depository is an organization like a central bank. Now this word is very important. Depository is an organization where securities are held in electronic form. So the main objective of depository or purpose of depository is to hold the securities in electronic form at the request of the shareholder through DP. Now here DP means the depository participant. So this is a depository, and these DPs are just like the branches of a bank. So you have seen that the bank normally holds the money of the customers, and in case of depository hold the securities in electronic form of the investors. Now it is usual that whenever you want to keep your money in the bank, you have to open an account in the bank. Similarly, if you want your securities should be held in dematerialized form, then the investor will have to open an account in the depository through depository participant. So depository participant is just like an agent of the depository, where the investor can approach and open his demat account, and once the account is opened, the depository will hold the securities in demat form for that investor. For example, this is Mr. A, and Mr. A is holding 100 shares of this company. तो यहाँ पर इसके पास share certificate है, and in this share certificate 100 shares are mentioned along with distinction numbers. So this is a physical share certificate. Now if this shareholder want these shares to be held in electronic form in the depository system, then this shareholder simply will have to open an account in depository through depository participant. Once the account is open, the investor or shareholder can request the depository to hold his shares in demat form. So in his account, these many shares will be credited, and these physical share certificate will not exist once the demat account is credited with these number of shares. Now let's also see the implication of holding the shares in dematerialized form. So once these shares are held by depository in demat form, in the records of the company, now this is very important, in the records of the company, these 100 shares will be owned by the depository. So this depository will be the registered owner of these shares, and this Mr. A will be treated as the beneficial owner. So beneficial owner will become A in the records of depository, and in the records of the company, the registered owner of these share will be depository who is holding these shares. Now there are certain important things which you must know regarding the depository system. First is the option. The shareholder will have an option whether to hold such security in physical form, that is in the share certificate form, or he wants to hold the security in demat form. So option lies with the shareholder. If shareholder wants that, no, I want a physical share certificate with me, so he can take those share certificate with him instead of opening the depository account or holding these securities in demat form. Or if he wants to hold these securities in a demat form, then he can always have this option to open an account with depository and hold these securities in demat form. So shareholder is not mandatorily required to hold the securities in demat form. It is option given to the shareholder. Now the second important point you have to note is the ownership. In the records of the company, the registered owner will be the depository who is holding those securities in demat form, and the shareholder will become the beneficial owner in the records of the depositories. Now here you can see that the ownership is divided. One is the registered owner and another is the beneficial owner. Registered owner, when we say, it has only a right to transfer these securities and ownership of these securities. So registered owner like depository has a right to transfer these securities from one person to another person. This is the right the depository will be having. And on the other hand, the beneficial owner will have all the rights related to those securities as well as the liabilities related to those securities. So all the rights, when we say right to vote, will be with the beneficial owner. So voting right will remain with the beneficial owner, as well as all the dividend income and right shares, bonus shares, whatever right accrues to these securities will also be with the beneficial owner. And also the liabilities related to these shares, suppose the calls are unpaid on these shares, so to pay the unpaid calls, the person who will remain liable is the beneficial owner and not the depository, that is the registered owner. So this point is also very important, that the ownership is divided into two parts. One is the registered owner and another is the beneficial owner. Now, the third thing is the transfer. Once this Mr. A, who is holding 100 shares in demat form, wants to transfer these shares to another person, let's say Mr. B. Now, for this Mr. A will have to apply to the depository to transfer his shares to Mr. B. The thing which you have to remember, now in this depository system, the Mr. A need not to apply to the company to transfer his shares. He just simply have to apply to depository to transfer his share to another person. Now here another important thing you have to remember, the another person to whom these shares are being transferred, that is the demat shares are being transferred, this another person should also have a demat account to get the shares credited in his account. Now this transfer will take place through the electronic book entry in the books of depository. So there will be instant transfer, there will not be any much delay. Earlier, in case of physical share certificate, there was a lengthy procedure, long procedure to transfer these shares. But after the emergence of depository system, the transfer takes place immediately without wasting of time. Now these were some important aspects of depository, and now we are going to discuss the depository chapter in detail.